Good morning, Frank. We're here
Morning,
at
Andy.
Brentwood Carp Show, and we put on our Facebook page that we would have a bit of a Q&A session with you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just to discuss a few bits,
Yeah.
and we've had some questions come in. We've got our first one here. This is from Dave Hill in Shrewsbury, and he has asked, what capture would you relive again and why?
Do you know the fishing gravies in
Yes.
Luke Moffat's
Yeah,
Lake?
okay.
We had a film crew down with Len Gerd, and I was fishing with Lee Jackson, and it went on to be the world record, and that was quite a remarkable huge fish in them days.
Yeah.
It was probably about 15 years ago now.
Okay.
And I'd never had a 50 at that time.
Right.
So we were looking at the fish, and I said, I'd like to catch the scarfish, but I'd also would have loved to have caught the leather, but Luke said that's died.
Okay.
And he said it's not been seen for 3 years, and it used to, be seen from the boat and caught fairly regular. And I caught both virtually straight away,
That's
So
fantastic.
it's a chapter in the book I wrote as well. So
okay.
it's,
Which book?
it's Every Bit of Blue.
Ah, fantastic. Next one we got here, we got from Jamie Saunders from Kent, where we are at the moment.
Yeah.
We get asked how far the rods can cast on a regular basis. Now, I always find this one is a bit of an open-ended question. What do you feel?
Well, of course it is. Yeah, I get the same thing. I say, how far will that rod cast? Which is the rod's capabilities is one thing, and then the ability of the individual angler to cast it is another.
Yep.
I usually say, well, in the right hands, that rod is capable of more than 150 yards.
Yeah, depending on the test curve.
120, yeah. And with the right size lead, with the right reel and line with it and everything, in the right hands, it's obvious it's going to be down to the individual. I mean, I've given a really balanced setup to someone when I used to give casting lessons, and the guy, for whatever reason, just couldn't get his timing right, or he's limp-wristed, and he had gear that potentially would do 220 yards, and he was struggling to get 100 yards.
No, absolutely.
He did improve, but he was very unnatural at casting. So
it's a kind of a fairly open-ended question.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
Too many variables, and so but
and a lot of people, by the way, use leads that are very light.
Yeah.
So they're not getting the full potential. They might use 15-pound line and a 2-ounce lead, and it's not a very balanced setup like that.
And
so
it depends whether you've got a leader on or not, depending on whether
of course
bag,
it does.
how aerodynamic your solid bag is, all those sorts of bits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there is no definitive answer to that. Yeah.
And we're moving on from that one. We've got one from a guy called Barry from Luton, and he's asked, would I be able to cast further with a 12-foot or a 13-foot rod?
Generally speaking, the longer the rod, the greater the arc you create, and the extra tip speed. So with a 13-foot rod, you're always going to cast further than a 12-foot rod. Okay. Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Same with it's like having a 10-foot rod as opposed to a 13. Absolutely. Again, you're not going to get the speed of the arc. So
happy days. Okay. We then got Jeff from North Yorkshire. When and where do you use shock leaders?
Well, I'm a little bit unusual, really. I like to use a shock leader for more than just the casting. Yeah. I use it as a rubbing leader if you hit a little bit of rough ground, mussels or anything. I like that bit of protection on the end, so I tend to use it for 90% of my fishing. I feel more secure with it, and then if I see a fish rolling at maybe 140 yards, I can just turn around, wind it in, and then crack one out. So I tend to use a leader for most of my fishing, but I think it's a good habit to get into, because I think it's quite dangerous waters where they ban shock leaders. Yeah. I know why they do it on some waters, but it's also dangerous to be cracking off rigs that are charged with the bait on when you've not got a shock leader on. Yeah. And then you risk hitting someone on the opposite bank and killing them as well. So all told, I would use a shock leader for
predominantly most of your fishing.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
And then there's one here from me. I put in here bit of a Sonik-y question. From the new Sonik ranges that we've got, what have you been most impressed with?
Well, yesterday I was doing casting demonstrations, and with the Dominator X with the rod and reel combination, and you're going out with some of the other companies that have got very expensive gear out there for 400, 450 pounds. and they're doing their thing. And I went out with the Dominator X. I suppose it's about an £85 rod.
Yeah, with the deal that we've got on those rods.
Exactly. Yeah, and the reel's the same, similar pricing. So you've got an amazing setup for the money, and you know, I couldn't see any discernible difference in what I can cast with the top end gear that I've got as well.
And what is, you know, it's our mid-range rod. We've got a Vader X, Dominator X, and then the Gravity X. And
well, there's two elements to that. A lot of cheaper rods either feel flimsy, like they're going to blow up, they look crap, or they perform crap. But that ticks all the boxes, and it's not just you know, saying it for the sake of it. It genuinely is very nice. I'd have no problem using that gear for all of my fishing, to be honest.
No, that's good to hear.
Yeah,
nice one.
Nice one. Cheers, Andy.